So Trina Shoemaker is going to be on first. She's going to talk about a song called Seasick Emotions by the Wood Brothers.
Jump in about this mix and this song, and so I have a little script going here. Sunday, September 10th, 2017, Hurricane Irma makes landfall in the Florida Keys, and I was in a hurricane of my own that week, and I was wondering if the landfalls would coincide. I didn't know the Wood Brothers. Oliver approached me earlier that month and asked if I'd do some mixing for their record. So now I'm going to go into a functional tip number one. When working with songs you've never heard before or with artists you've never met, or both. All right, so functional tip number one. When working with songs you've never heard before with artists you don't know, you have to establish a trust in the first and second song. And in order for it to be real, you have to trust yourself to mix the song true to the story that you're hearing. So you have to serve the song, not really the artist at that point, and you have to reveal your creativity. You have to, based on the tracks you've been given, you have to find every piece of cool and every moment of that feels great, and that was a cool riff, and that chorus downbeat was awesome, and get ready to blend all the cool. And you're going to reveal yourself, and you're going to kind of put your creativity on the line to be judged. But you have to give it everything. And if you think you need to change a few things to serve the song, well, I do that. And then I send the artist the song, and I hope that my instincts and my creativity were there. And it often works out that they are, and then I'm free to be creative for the whole rest of the mix. So the trust is established. So that was functional tip number one, create trust with song number 1 and 2, and be bold. I started Seasick Emotion on Saturday the 9th. And the song starts with these keys that are meant to kind of conjure a storm, and then a dobro and a big, fat, giant, enormous, tuneful, insanely groovy bass comes in, right? And it's just a simple song with a crazy drum kit, a fat bass, a cool dobro, and a vocal. And there's some more key parts hanging around and some backing vocals and this whole other trap kit for the bridge, and I didn't know what that was supposed to be doing. And meanwhile, I was waiting for this storm. So I lost my house in Katrina, and I knew Irma wasn't coming here. But the fear and the fascination with hurricanes is overwhelming nonetheless. So Oliver's singing away about hurricanes and seasick emotions over this rolling, tumbling track, and I'm completely caught up in its wake. Here comes functional tip number 2. I gotta be able to see my notes here. All right. Okay, so how do you start a mix? And for me, it's different every time. And I often start with just the vocal and the bass, because it's just like a game. I figure if I can make this song work with just the vocal and the bass and tell its story, then great. And then once I get that going, I add stuff. And then I add something else. And I listen to the story, and then I just jump headlong into the song. So it was clear that the solo in Seasick Emotion wasn't doing what the guys wanted, which is why there was an extra drum kit and an extra guitar. So, but there was something missing, and I needed an anchor, and this song became my anchor for a few days. It's weird, like, this doesn't happen every time, but people wonder how magic ends up in songs or in mixes, or, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess just as a mixer, I allow myself into the song because I have a wellspring of creativity, also known as OCD, that has to come out. But I know its limitations. So anyway, back to the story. I needed an anchor, and this song became my anchor because this very week, 2 people that I love, a member of my immediate family, and And a friend I've known for decades, he's Canadian and he's a producer. And he taught me to record. They were both diagnosed with melanoma, and I was reeling, and this was happening. All right, so back to the story of the song. I was trolling Twitter when Irma was making landfall on Sunday, and I couldn't sleep, and I came across this cell phone video of some crazy guy was filming the moment that Irma was making landfall on the Keys, and he had stuck his hand out the window and captured this thing. And the audio was terrifying. It was so frightening. I couldn't believe how it sounded. It was haunted and it was beautiful. So I captured the audio right then and there. And then I went into the studio the next day to finish off Seasick Emotion. And I decided to put Irma in the song. And this was a big deal because unless I'm the producer, I don't generally take that liberty, especially with a band I don't know. But I felt so attached to the song and to that audio clip, and it seemed like I was supposed to put Irma in the song. I know a real hurricane for a song about emotions that pull you apart like a hurricane. And I used it in the bridge, and that was indeed what was missing from the bridge, and in the very end, fade out, and another little bit in the turnaround. Here's functional tip number 3. You have to blend tracks to engage the listener, and during the mix, you're the listener. So be bold. And I seek authenticity, and what I mean by that is, well, authenticity is subjective, and so is fidelity. And I want the song to be true to its identity. Analog is not an identity, and electronica versus acoustica is not an identity either. What is available to me in the recording that I can hang the identity of the song on? And I look for that, and then I just strive to make it authentic to what I got sent, to the artist and their vision and their recording. Here's a prospectus on production. I'll interrupt to say, all the lines are blurred to me. I'm producing and I'm recording and I'm mixing. And I'm mixing, but I'm still producing, even if producer is not my name. And I know what the roles are, but it's all the same job in my world. And so I create order out of chaos, and I capture music and I sculpt it and I craft it. And I administer a budget sometimes, or I set a schedule and I make a record, and I just focus my mind. So that's why I don't know, producer, record, engineer, mixer. It's kind of all the same to me at the end of the day. I turned that song in, and I told the guys, look, I did something, and if you don't like it, then I'll just delete it immediately and we'll pretend like this never happened. But if you do like it, I'll tell you what it is and why it's there. And they did like it a lot. And then I told them it was Irma. It was the moment of landfall. And they didn't believe it. And so I sent them the actual audio clip, and it was as frightening to them and beautiful and haunted as it was to me. So my point in all of this, right, is one, I love that song. That song's cool. I just allow myself to become emotionally engaged with the songs, not the artists. Once the artist has given me the tracks, I mean, really, they can leave. I love artists. I mean, I'm married to one, and I'm one. Sometimes I'm backing vocalist, but mostly I just want to craft for the song and serve the song. Yeah, that's Maybe Angels. That is badass. And I can say that because it was so long ago that it seems like maybe it wasn't even me. I don't know. That was a long time ago, back in the analog days, in a mansion in the French Quarter, Kingsway Studio. And Sheryl Crow was there, and Jeff Trott was there. And that was me experimenting with what I found, a new trick someone had shown me about shoving all the buttons in on 1170s and cranking it completely. And I was putting the loops. I was trying to do bounce, because everything had to be bounced all the time because we only had 24 tracks, you know, and there were a lot of ideas, and I was trying to bounce them, but I was also trying to compress them, and I was trying to do it all live because you're bouncing through to a new track, you're in record, and just went, and they squealed and did that whole thing. Luckily, I was in record. I got it over to the bounce track and could never, ever, ever do it again. It's fucking, ooh, sorry. It's so cool. It was cool. It's cool now. It was a part of the architecture of crazy analog. And I also didn't really know still to that day what the hell compressors did. Still don't, and I use them heavily because they make things better. That's all. It was real cool. Oh, I have to say one more thing about it. They were down real low in the rack, you see, so you had to bend over and do it fast, and even having to be in that position caused it to be more of an extreme gesture. Okay, that's all.
Trina, that was just amazing, and I am so grateful. We're all grateful. I don't know if you can hear some applause live, but we're applauding you. All your great work over the years. I hope to see you on Mix with the Masters.